treated the world to one of the most sumptuous football that we've seen in the FIFA World Cup final. Welcome to our review of the game between Argentina and France. Of course, the final of the 2022 FIFA World Cup. It was a complete spectacle. At the time, a lot of people said their minds were a bit twisted because it looked like at the time Argentina were just going to run away with the victory, but the French came back from the dead. And eventually, Lionel Messi, Lionel Messi is the song that is being sung right now in Rio de Janeiro, all across Argentina. Once again, welcome to, of course, a review of that game. My name is Olafemi Asha. Ricardo Gundare and James Agrepi joins us by video. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Femi. It's a pleasure being here. Congratulations to Argentina. Congratulations to Messi fans. It is a well-deserved victory. Although it was very, very dramatic at the end of the day, but I would not wish for a better World Cup final. It is, in my opinion, the best I've seen, Femi, and I can tell you I've seen a few. It is the best and I'm talking about the football, the end-to-end stuff. And everything is such a shame that they had to resort to penalties to separate both teams. It speaks to the quality of football that was on offer. At the beginning, the first 10-15 minutes, it never showed that we're in for something like this. Like you said, it was like going to be a one-way traffic. I mean, 2 goals up, and in the final of the World Cup, you expect that everybody is home and dry until the 80th minute, Femi. 10 minutes to go, everything turned around and changed. And at the point, it was like France went on the ascendancy and you felt they were going to score the winning goal. Then it was going to be Argentina. Now it's going to be France. It's going to be Argentina until they went to penalty shooters. For me, there was little to separate between these teams, but it went to confirm what I've said all along, Femi, that you see this French team, they are stronger than people think. And you remember, I've said this severally. I said they seem to they score when they want to score. Like, we can't just be bothered. They are like the bright student in class who doesn't want to read too much. He just reads enough to get 75, and that's all. He's not aiming to get 100. So when they need to score, they will just score. That's what I saw in their game. They had this strength in depth that they can always draw on when there is a need for it. You saw, and nobody expected them to come back from a 2-goal deficit, Femi. But they did come back, and they nearly won this at the death. If that last save by Martinez had not been, we would have been talking about a French victory now. So for me, like I said, I'm still trying to come to terms with the reality that finally, Messi is a proud winner of the World Cup.
Okay. James, I think I saw USA final, US 94 final, I saw France 98, I saw 2002, Japan, Brazil, Germany. I've seen, since 1994, I've seen World Cup final. James, I can tell you that I've never seen a World Cup final as this. Where does this final rank for you, James?
For me, the best final ever. I think I've watched a couple, and I think this stands out for me. As a point, I have to start to rewrite my match report. I'm already writing Argentina, Messi. So all of a sudden I have to start making adjustments. Okay, So I mean, it was a blockbuster. This is what they call the final of the final. I mean, this takes me back to 1986 when Argentina played against West Germany. They were up by 2-0. All of a sudden, the Germans came back. So Argentina luckily went on to win in the last minute. So it almost took the same pattern. Argentina went 2 goals up. We all thought the French were dead and buried, but they couldn't even create chances. Mbappe was nowhere to be found. All of a sudden, the goal just started coming in. The less than 10 minutes to go.
The game on the head.
Argentina didn't even know what really hit them. It was explosive. I mean, Mbappe. It was so unfortunate, though he equaled the Geoff Hurst 1966 record. He's now the second player to score a hat-trick in the final of the World Cup. Unfortunately, the hat-trick was not enough to hand them the trophy. So I think the game just brought out the good and the bad side of the two teams. Argentina, the way they started, like a house on fire, everything was going smoothly. Angel Di Maria was doing the stuff. Messi was pulling the strings. The French side was just all over the place. They had to make 2 substitutions. Then all of a sudden, Argentina became the bad team. Started struggling to contain the French team, and it started going back and forth. And it was, to me, it wasn't even about a tactical, as it was about who wanted it the most. And luck was also on Argentina's side. Because when he went to penalties, I just felt Argentina might nick it because of Emiliano Martinez. He has proven himself in this competition that when it comes to penalty shootout, he's somebody that you can count on. And that last minute save, against Moani, I mean, that I already shouted goal. All of a sudden, I just saw that the ball didn't. I mean, that guy, that was a saving grace for Argentina, because I think that ball went to the net, that would have been it. So for me, it was a blockbuster. It was the one team was better than the other. It was not that they were taking turns to be better in the game. So at some point you think the French team will go ahead and win. When the next Argentina took over, Angel Di Maria, I think he cried a bucket load of, I don't know, that bucket will be filled up, because the guy was just crying. Even when Argentina scored third goal, he was crying. When Mbappe scored, he was also crying. So I mean, like, this is a final that will go down. For me, this is the greatest final ever in the history of the World Cup.
Okay, Kyle, of course, because I remember that even during the group stage, the FIFA president Gianni Infantino had already said that that is the best group games ever that we've seen at the World Cup because of the number of upsets that we saw. Kyle, let's talk about Kylian Mbappe. This young man, I was a little bit confused when I saw the Deschamps pulled out Antoine Griezmann and of course Olivier Giroud. I was like, what is he doing? So you're going to leave Mbappe to do this? And in 97 seconds, Kyle, the audacity, the confidence to pull out this a masterpiece in the World Cup final for a young star, Coyote. In 97 seconds, he scored 2 goals, and Coyote eventually an anarchy. What more can we say about Kylian Mbappe? Like James said,
I think Kylian just confirmed what we have always known about him, that he is the next big thing. Unfortunately, he might have to rule alone. In the last decade, we have seen a Messi-Ronaldo competition. Now, Mbappe is way, way ahead of his age group. The Haalands, the Bellingham, and all these other guys that are around him, they do not combine the skill set that he has. Mbappe can play with both legs. He can score with the head. He has self-control. He has ball control and self-control too, Femi. He plays a football that is beyond his age. So for me, bearing any injuries, I expect him to be at the top of his game for a long, long time. And let me quickly say this. Let me quickly say this, Femi. He has outgrown PSG. He has to leave PSG, no matter what he's going to take. Now, he cannot be in PSG and expect to be taken seriously, in quote. I'm not disparaging. He is possible. He can still win the Ballon d'Or at PSG, but the PSG will limit him. He has to play because of the hype. See, for me, everything is about perception. He has to play in Spain. That's the truth. And win things. If you put a PSG besides a Real Madrid, which is likely to win the Champions League, for me, he has to go to Spain and play for Madrid. That's where his best chances are. Probably Madrid, or later on, if their finances improve, Barcelona. As it is now, it is Madrid that I think he can go, or probably Man City. Because those
Why are you not mentioning Manchester United? Why are you not mentioning Manchester United? Arsenal.
I'll tell you why. To compete now, Femi, the kind of money that you need to compete now at that level, it is only Real Madrid and Chelsea and Man City that have it in their leagues. You cannot compare the French league with the Spanish league or the Premier League. So if you're going to go to any league, it's either Premier League or Spain or La Liga. And if he's going to those two, he cannot afford to go to just any out club. He has to go to either Man City, who have the resources and are willing to spend it, or Real Madrid, who are also not shy when it comes to spending money. He has to go to either of those two. That's my thinking. I might be wrong, I might be right, I'm not too sure. But apart from him going to that, it's very, very frightening, Femi, when you think about the fact that he's just 23. He's going to be 24 in 2 days' time. He's just 23 years old, and he has done what many people have not been able to do. He has scored an hat-trick in the World Cup final, something Maradona did not do, something Pele did not do. Only one other player had done that before in World Cup history. Score 3 goals in the World Cup final. That's Geoff Hurst of England in 1966. Apart from that, no other player has scored 3 goals in the World Cup final. Then, like I said, when you talk about him, you also have to talk about the grace, the talent, the class of Lionel Messi. Like I said, it was an abnormality that Messi and Ronaldo would not win the World Cup.
We're going to come to Messi on his own.
All right. Then let me leave it at that.
Okay, James, what happened to the French team? I was shocked because I didn't start the game initially. So because I was trying to come down to the office, and when I got to the office, I just switched on the TV and I saw 2-0 and I screamed. Someone else came in and said, "What happened?" I said, I'm not in Qatar, so I can't tell you what happened. I just saw the scoreline the same way you're seeing it. James, what happened to the French team? I'm sure they didn't know what hit them. By the time they realized that they were already 2 goals down, it was somehow too late, and they had to rally back before they level the score.
Yeah, I think what really happened to them was they came into the game the same pattern, the same formation, the 4-3-3. You know where Mbappe would be, Giroud will lead the line, Dembele will come from
So they were predictable, right?
So you already know what they are going to come up with. But the Argentine, for me, fine, Messi was key at them, but in the early part of the game, Di Maria was all over them, especially in that right fullback area. Di Maria was having fun. He was turning Dembele inside out. He had to force Dembele to foul him inside the box, and he got the goal. So he was just running rings. He was just having fun in that part of the pitch until the French team had to now pull off Dembele and Giroud because they were just not in the game. They were just passengers. Dembele was giving away the ball. Giroud had no service. They were just clueless. Messi was just showing his class. Di Maria too was doing, so they couldn't cope with the tactics, the pattern, the organization, the grit and everything. The Argentine were just, giving them. So I just felt if France should pull a goal back, I know the pressure would be on Argentina. That was what happened, So immediately they got that penalty, Mbappe scored. I mean, everything, and the substitutions too. They just had to go for it. That was what they could. That's one thing about football. Once you are down, you have to make substitution that you just have to go for, throw caution to the wind. You are already losing. So you have nothing else to lose again. So that was what the coach did. He brought in Koeman. He brought in Marcus Thuram. He brought in all these guys, and he brought in Randall Moani. He brought all these guys, and they changed the game. They were just so determined. So it was not even about who are the best stars for the French, who are the best, whether they came up with the best stars. They just have to go for it. Put everybody in there and just go for it. And they fought hard and they were able to get the equalizer. So for me, the first half was terrible for them, but they will just manage through determination, through great fight and everything. They just threw in the kitchen sink and everything at the Argentines. And Argentine, they exerted a lot of energy in the first half. So I think kind of fatigue setting toward the end of the game. And they were trying to hold on, trying to see how the game, what happened against Holland. Unfortunately, the same thing happened again. They had to throw away the 2-goal lead. So luckily for them, they had Lionel Messi, who that at any point in time he can do something for them. So for me, the French, they did very well. Kudos to them. But I mean, this is a Messi's World Cup, and everybody just that's the consolation for some people now that find they are supporting France, but even though Argentina win it, fine, it's okay because of Messi. So that's just it.
Okay, Kayode. We've talked a lot about officiating, particularly in the knockout phase of this competition. Exactly. And we saw the first penalty that was awarded to Argentina. A lot of people have said, why didn't the referee even maybe try to go and see a replay in the monitor, even if the VAR didn't communicate to him or something. And again, a lot of people on social media, they came out for Koundé, the Barcelona right back. They said because the first goal, they said it was, on his wing. And of course, the counter, that very sweet swift move that what's his name, Angel Di Maria converted for Argentina's second goal. It was also on his way. A lot of people really came hard on him during the game. What's your impression about those two questions, Kyle?
Yeah, I think I agree with them. But then having done excellently well all through the competition, probably the occasion got to him. Femi, you cannot rule that out. We're talking about the World Cup final. It wouldn't. Some people. I remember. I read Pele's book. I read it like some 20-something years, almost 30 years ago, where he was talking about the 1957 World Cup, 1958 World Cup, that the first time he won the World Cup. After winning the World Cup, that it took him like a month before he finally dawned on him that he had won the World Cup. So sometimes the occasion will just overwhelm you that, hey, I'm in the final of the World Cup. I don't want to make mistakes. And the moment you start thinking like that, Femi, you will start making mistakes. So for me, that boy has been excellent in the back for France all along. And I was so shocked, so surprised that he was jittery. He was putting every foot wrong today. So sometimes it happens like that it's not just your day. I mean, you could say the same for almost everybody in that defense line today. Because apart from the penalty, even the breakaway goal that Messi initiated that led to the second goal too, that Di Maria scored, the same thing, they were caught napping. So for me, it was just going to be an off day. So I do not want to, Femi, the same way it's always difficult for me to praise individual players in a team game. I also am very, very reluctant to blame players individually in a team game that is supposed to be, you win together, you lose together. Everybody, I mean, in the first half, Mbappe was also anonymous because he wasn't getting the ball. Nothing was just working for France. Nothing was working for them until they turned it around in the second half. And I think we should also salute the courage of Didier Deschamps that he saw you're not working. And in the first half, Femi, he pulled out players. That's the hallmark of a good coach. So I think he pulled them out in the 42nd minute, and I was like, why don't you wait for the last 3 minutes? But you know what? Anything could happen. So he had the courage to put them out as at that time and send some other players on that actually were able to turn the game around. For me, if you ask me, Femi, it is only because there must be a winner. That was why Argentina are the winners today. I salute the French team for their persistence, for their resilience, for their courage under fire, that even though it was a lost cause, they were chasing it. They kept chasing until the last minute. And for me, that is the hallmark of a good team.
Okay. What's your impression about the penalty, Caldi?
Which of the penalties? We had 3 penalties now.
The first penalty, yeah. The
first one.
Penalty.
It was a very good penalty for me. And I will tell you why. See, let's take away emotions now. What people do not realize or do not want to accept is that in a one-on-one, when the advantage is always with the person who has the ball. He has the advantage already. Once he has the ball, he's the one they're going to give the benefit of the doubt to. That it's possible if you did not do whatever it was. So the defender is in a very, very tight situation. You want to dispossess him of the ball, yet you do not want to foul him. How do you do that? You have to strike a balance. So for him, he just wants to make sure that he gets the ball towards goal. So if it's somebody that is as wily, that is as smart, as cunning and dangerous as a Di Maria, it's always, while he has the ball at his feet, his eyes are looking for your own leg. So the moment you pull out your leg out of turn like this, it gets you. So for me, it was a good penalty. No doubt about it. I'm not going to take anything away from that penalty. I've seen a lot of things people are writing about him, about penalties, about how Messi has scored 5 penalties, scored 7 penalties. I said, this is all BS. Because last time I checked the rules of the game, the laws of the game, Femi, penalties are a legitimate way of scoring. A World Cup had been won in this competition via a penalty, a lone goal in 1990. Germany beat Argentina 1-0 via a penalty. So I do not have a problem. Then those who are complaining that Argentina had 5 penalties, blah, 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 blah. What would they have said if it was Messi that had 2 penalties in this game? Because everybody is clapping for Mbappe now. Yeah, I also applauded him. But if it had been, let's just flip the coin for me. If it had been Messi that had to score 2 penalties, you and I know what people will say. But like I said, that's not even an issue now. The most important thing is a winner has emerged. The promise of a new generation in this French team is what excites me, Femi. Most of their key players are still within Mbappe's age range, and that's much more frightening for me. The Moani guy that came on, even Dembele, if he can stay injury-free, and don't forget that there's a certain Nkunku that is still coming into this team. Femi, I see the Thuram boy, a lot of them, all of them, they are still within that age range, less than 25 years old. That is the most important achievement of Deschamps. All of them, they are still within that 25 below. So for me, that is the most important. So that means already today, Femi, is 1 day less than the next World Cup. I'm already tipping France to also get to the final. And let me quickly also say something. Since 1998, Femi, between 1998 and 2022, France have been the most achieving team in the World Cup since 1998 up to in the space of 24 years. No other team has had the kind of success that France have had in this competition. So let that sink in and continue to think about the prospect of what this team can do in 4 years. In 4 years' time, they will be 4 years older, 4 years more mature, 4 years much more experienced. God save the rest of the world in 2026.
Okay, James, do you think France will have been able to defend their title if not for the number of injuries that they have? You remember likes of Kante, for Pogba, Christopher Nkunku, and of course, even Karim Benzema could not make this tournament because of injury. Do you think it will have been easy for France to successfully defend their title if these players were in this squad?
Well, you never can tell. Maybe even if you have those guys, maybe they wouldn't have even gotten to the final. Football is a very funny sport. When you expect to say, okay, you have these players, you never can tell. The Spanish team that won the World Cup in 2010, the same bulk of guys that went to 2014, what happened? They crashed out in the first round with all these same guys. They were there. They still crashed out. So sometimes these things they don't really pan out like that. I think what really helped the French team, these young guys, the Moanis, the Thurams, these guys. I think everybody wanted to prove that okay, we can play in the absence of the likes of Pogba, Kante, Benzema, Nkunku, that they should show that they can step up to the plate, and they did very well. Fine, unfortunately, it turned out to be like this. But they proved that come next World Cup, a lot of teams should be scared of them. Just like what Kyle said, the age will be in their own advantage. They are still young. By the time they get to that stage, they've seen it all now. So there's nothing can frighten them anymore. Play at the highest level, play against one of the greatest players that you ever, and they're able to drag them to the penalty shootout. So for me, those guys who didn't play, are you sure that they are even going to be more motivated to play in this World Cup because they won it before? Sometimes that motivation might not even be there. So to me, it doesn't really count. Even though you have them, they might not even get to the semi-final. So kudos to the young guys who were able to pull through to the final. Unfortunately, they just lost out to a very good and determined Argentine side.
Okay, Kayode, Messi eventually won the Golden Ball, and of course the prestigious, the shining gold-plated trophy. Kayode, I know you warned me not to drag you into the gold debate. You warned me, and of course I'm going to stick to that agreement. But do you think Argentina will have won this World Cup? Would it have been easy for Argentina?
Considering that he has been their best player in the last 10 years or so, it would have been much more difficult for them to win. But then you could also say that probably without him, there would have been much more freedom to play for the guys. It's possible they would have had much more freedom to play without him in the squad. And I said something. I said the problem they had all to this moment was like everybody was mentally shifting the burden onto Messi until this competition that they came out of. I believe the 2014 team was much more talented, much more add more quality than this team, Femi. But because everybody just felt Messi is there, so they allowed him, they just shifted the body into him. But this competition in 2022, the younger guys that came up, they just, everybody picked up the slack and did their own beat, and you saw it in the kind of result that they got at the end of the day. So for me, I think is an argument that is mute. If it's there or not, we never can tell. We never can tell. But then we will not insult the hard work of the other guys by saying it was Messi's alone. No, it wasn't. Yeah, Messi dragged them over the line, over the finishing line, but they also contributed their own quota into in the victory.
Okay, James, as we round up now, let's look at Lionel Messi. After the game, I saw him was waving goodbye to Argentine fans. I do not know whether that means that that's the end. But how more glorious can you end your career with 7 goals in the World Cup, 3 assists, and the biggest trophy? Because I remember even before the final, he was asked when he won his 5th Ballon d'Or, and they asked him 5 Ballon d'Or on 1 World Cup, and he said he wouldn't even think about it. There's going to be 1 World Cup, and here he has it. How more glorious would one have ended his playing career for his country than to win a World Cup, James?
Well, I don't think it is the last outing for him, because I think I saw in the report after the final that he said he still want to play for the world champion. So I think we're still going to see.
They're already calling the world champion, right?
Yes.
They are the world champions.
They are the world champions now. So I think he doesn't just want to leave them like that. I think he just want to stick around, but he doesn't have anything to prove to anybody again. The most important trophy, the one that they're using to taunt him, that a lot of people said you cannot compare himself with Maradona, Pele, and the likes. At least he's in that bracket now. He's Zidane, the big guys who won the World Cup. At least is in that discussion now. So what?
But James, sorry. Between you and I, do you think this has sealed the GOAT debate? Don't let out the year. Do you think this has sealed the GOAT debate?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. I believe so. I mean, because what is the ultimate prize in world football, and for you to cement your status as one of the greatest. I mean, what better way to sign out? That's if eventually leaves. What better way? Because what better way to end your career as a World Cup winner? I mean, the stage, everything was so perfect for him. His closest rival, Ronaldo, also how he exited the World Cup. And he was able to, because a lot of people were backing Argentina just because of Messi. It's not as if because of anything. I was surprised that I read into a report that even some French people, they wanted Argentina to win just because of Messi. He plays in Paris Saint-Germain. So all those, I'm telling you, a lot of people don't like, okay, even the former French international, André Pierre Gignac, he said he wants Messi to win. He's somebody who played for France at Euro 2016. David Trezeguet too, though he has Argentine by somehow by background. He said he wants Argentina to win. So
because I'm sorry that French police are looking for them right now.
So for me, I don't know of Kayode. I think that settles it. So anybody who's still coming up with the argument about who's the greatest between Messi and Ronaldo, I think that has sorted itself out, and I think that argument has been destroyed for me. Unless maybe Ronaldo out of nowhere win the next World Cup, then. But for now, that's a dead and buried issue.
Okay, Kayode, we spoke about eight Ballon d'Or for Lionel Messi, and I remember yesterday you said the last 3 or 4 World Cup that has gone to Europe. And you said it would be nice if this goes to South America. And of course, it has happened now. And do you think, of course, remember we also talked about if Messi winning this will mean an automatic 8th Ballon d'Or. I think that is already here. It's on. You can't even doubt it right now.
Honestly, on the basis of their performances at this World Cup, it will be a tight run between Mbappe and Messi for the Ballon d'Or. Interestingly, both of them still play in the same club. So it's very difficult. So whatever achievement you ascribe to the club, you can ascribe to both of them. So I'm going to see probably the edge that Messi has now is because he won the World Cup and Mbappe did not. That's the only.
And they have the tournament too.
Yes, that's the only advantage that Messi will have over Mbappe. Then one, then two, they could just like, you know what, let's use this as a goodbye gift for Messi. Mbappe, you still have years and years ahead of you to win Ballon d'Or. But if Mbappe gets it, I will not be surprised, Femi, on the basis of this performance. If it goes to Messi too, I will not be surprised. Outside these two, I'm struggling to find any other person that merits this Ballon d'Or. But for me, I think, and like I said, I think I also rooted for Argentina to win the very first time since I've been watching football that I will support Argentina. I'm not kidding you. I did that because I felt Messi, and I would have done this for Portugal too if it were Ronaldo, if it were Portugal in the final. I just felt both of them, I mean Ronaldo and Messi, they have too much talent not to have won the World Cup. Let me see, there's a way this thing comes back to taunt you. Ronaldo dilemma, as great as he was, the fact that he never won the Champions League is still like a big this thing in his throat. You know, so I felt it was just proper that either of the two, or if it's possible for the two of them, to win it at least once before they retire. So when it so happens that this is Messi's opportunity, I supported him. I supported Argentina. As from this moment, I've withdrawn my support from Argentina anyway. And now to talk about the debate that you guys are having, why I stay out of it is because, Femi, I am just happy that I am alive in this generation to see both of them play. I want in the next 10, 15 years to sit down with my kids. When we talk football, I will tell them, you know what, I was alive when two of the greatest footballers to ever play football were playing actively. Are they as great as Pele and Maradona? It is very, very subjective, Femi. There's no scientific way to judge that. So I'm not going to get into that. Thank you very much.
Okay, James, as a roundup now, generally, look at the hosting, the atmosphere created by. All right, James, in 30 seconds, because we are already out of time. The hosting generally for you, how does it be? Is this your best World Cup generally in terms of play, in terms of hosting, in terms of officiating? Very quickly in 30 seconds.
For me, I think it's going to rank as one of the best World Cup. It was a decent competition. We didn't get any issues, any maybe arrests, crowd troubles, and all those things. And the updates were just top notch, first class offsets, just going up and down. And what better way to end the World Cup with this blockbuster we final? So for me, I mean, I will give it 80%.
Okay. Of course, we have to pay maybe a tribute to a number of colleagues, journalists. I think about 2 or 3 journalists died in Qatar while doing their job. So we wish that their soul will rest in perfect peace. Guys, it's been a very, very big privilege running this show with you. Remember, we started on the countdown, 30-day countdown to the tournament. Then, you know, coming on every day. On yesterday at the World Cup, you have, you know, to give fans a feel of what happened in the game. So it's been a very, very big pleasure riding alongside the both of you, Kadi and James. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was fun all the way.
Okay, so this is the last coverage for the 2023 FIFA World Cup, but it's not going to be our last show because our regular show, of course, we continue sometime in the week. So we'll carry you along the way. Our fans around the world, thank you for coming on this long journey with us. Unfortunately, this is our last coverage for the 2024 World Cup. So we'll reach back to you sometime during the week with our regular show. Of course, we'll focus back on